Hi, this is Al Daher again, coming to you from Mickey's Bait and Tackle, and we're going to do a third streamer in a series of the three, the trout streamers. We did in the last episode we did the rainbow, and prior to that we did the brook trout. We're finally going to do the brown trout today. And again, these are a variation of the Slaymaker patterns that were made famous back in the 1950s and 60s by Sam Slaymaker from Pennsylvania. And in the last videos that we did, we indicated that the reason why we're doing this is because today we have an amazing amount of synthetics available to us as fly tyers. Your Flashaboos, your Crystal Flashes, many of your dubbings today are made from synthetic materials. Back then they didn't have those. So think about this, or think of this as being sort of like the Slaymaker little brown trout on steroids. And it's a simple fly, not a lot going on here, and you'll see how we tie this. And we'll start by taking the example out of the vise, and I'm using a Sproat hook. It's about a size 6 and about a 5x long. Okay, we're using a black 6/0 thread, and we're going to start by getting our thread established, wrapping back. Always leave enough room behind the eye for your wing materials and your throat and the like. Get that thread established. We'll wrap it forward. The body for this particular fly is going to be a braid tinsel, a diamond braid. I like a silver diamond braid for this. This happens to be a silver holographic. You don't have to happen to always use the holographic version, but just a good silver for this brown trout, miniature brown trout, fingerling brown trout. And as I had stated in previous episodes, trout are cannibalistic. They definitely will prey on their young. You see a lot of tyers, modern day tyers, using big streamers. I mean, they almost look like saltwater flies. And the idea is a big streamer, big trout, giant trout, eating a meal worthwhile eating. But don't overlook the smaller streamers, okay? These can dance with the best of them. The little fingerlings really can work wonders when you're out there fishing. We'll wrap that body with that braid, that holographic braid. Nice and neat, one in front of the other. Yeah. Get that established. And when you're constructing your streamers, in Britain they call them lures. Okay. I guess it's the original Rapala or Rapala. Get that established. All right. Now the first material we're going to add is the underwing. Okay, that is a yellow calf tail. Okay, thus so. I'll take some of that to make my underwing. And remember, don't overbuild your streamers. Make them kind of sparse. And the idea behind that is a fly or a jig or anything like that that's constructed with too much material doesn't have the action in the water that a sparsely constructed pattern would have. I'm going to get rid of some of that flue. You don't need that stuff at the base. Get rid of some of that. Okay. And keep the tips nice and natural. Get rid of some of the longer ones you don't need. All right. We're going to measure that, and we're going to cut that, make the butts nice and even, and I'm going to just tie that in. Okay. Okay, we got a nice short section of thread so we can have the control that we need. There we go. Get that established. There's your underwing of yellow cattail. Okay, now the next material that we're going to use is a throat. It will be a saddle hackle, orange in this case. Just a little brown trout have little orange throats. Okay, I'll take some of that. And I'll grab some of the barbules on this. Try to get them as straight as we can. Strip them from the stem. Try to keep the butts as even as you can. Okay, just need a little bit of a orange throat. And what I'll do is I'll trim that. My scissors at the tie-in point. Okay, and again, rotate my vise to get that in there. Keep the thread nice and short for precision purposes. And there's the throat. Establish that. There's your orange throat. Okay? So many ways you can tie in a beard or a throat. That just happens to be one of them. Now the next material that we're going to put on is a calf tail again, and this is a dull olive. Okay, I used this in the previous video when we did the rainbow. You can use an olive, you can use greens, dark greens. We're going to get some of that for the wing, the upper top wing. Pull some of that off, trim. Get rid of some of that excess at the base that we don't need. It just creates unnecessary bulk. Pinch it by the tips and just pull some of that excess off. Again, I'm going to measure it. Okay, equal to about what the bottom wing looks like. And I'm going to cut. Get it nice and even. Then I'm going to put that in. And some streamer tires like to take an initial wrap around the bundle. It's a little tricky to learn how to do this, but you can do it. It supposedly keeps them more uniform. There. You don't have to do that though, I find. It depends on the fly. Just make sure it's in line with the body when you start to add pressure. Okay? And then the final material that I'm going to put on in a second here is going to be the Flashabou. We're going to, before we do that though, to fortify the wing on a hair streamer, especially when you're using squirrel or something fine like calf tail, I'll take some of this water-based head cement and I'll just put a little dab. And it's nice and thin so it'll soak into the threads and get into the base of the wing material. It fortifies it rather nicely. So as opposed to down the road when you're actually fishing this thing, it's less apt to come apart on you. And then okay, now we're going to add the topping, which is a Flashabou. This happens to be the color 6960. It just seems to work well for this brown trout pattern. And we cut a little slit on the top of this package, and I'm just going to pull out what I'm going to need with the tip of my scissors. Makes it sort of convenient. This way we're not, there's some already cut. There we go, I'll just grab those. Oh, that's not working. Okay. For some reason, this is not cooperating. There we go. For some reason, it's stuck to the inside of the package. Oh, that's making a nice mess, which it wasn't supposed to do. Okay. The best laid plans of mice and men. All right. For some reason they all, see, that's what we want to avoid. And by keeping it in its sleeve, we can usually avoid that from happening. But in this case, it just didn't want to cooperate. So here we go. We're just going to cut some of that for the topping. Okay. And get a hank, what I think is going to be necessary. Okay. And I'll tie that in right about in the middle there. This color just seems to suit the brown trout pattern rather nicely. I'm going to fold that over, but before I do that, I'm going to trim this, get rid of that excess, and then we'll fold it over, and we'll bind it down again. Now we'll form the head. And what really makes this streamer is going to be the eyes. And for the brown trout, I like using a Tester's model cement, okay, in the silver with a black pupil. And just take the head of a nail, dip it into the paint. Usually what's in the cap of the paint jar is all that you need. And then make your eyes on this fly, and it really gives it that lifelike quality. First you'd want to put down a nice coat of head cement. You can even use a black lacquer for the head cement. But when the finished product is done, you'll see the difference here. The eyes really make it. Okay, it gives it that lifelike quality. Yeah, it takes a little time. It's a more meticulous process, but eyes on streamers, I just happen to like them, and I think the trout like them too. Hey, this is Al, tying Al's Brownie. All right, saying so long for Mickey's Bait and Tackle.